So hi, everyone. I'm Chris Koerner. I'm a movement communications specialist in the communication department at the Wikimedia Foundation. I've been with the foundation for over 5.5 years now in various community-facing roles. I started my wiki adventure as a media wiki user in a large healthcare organization and quickly fell in love with the movement, becoming a staff member after a couple of years. I'm joining you all today from cloudy and rainy St. Louis, Missouri, which is located in the Midwestern United States on the unceded lands of the Kickapoo people. If you've ever flown to one of the larger cities in the United States, you've probably flown over my house. Hello again, and thank you for having me. This is my first time at WikiArabia, and I feel fortunate to share this time with you. In fact, this is my first time giving a presentation about my work at any community event in the last 2 years. So I truly do appreciate you all, and thank you. Today, I want to take a few minutes to talk about Diff, our Wikimedia movement news and event blog. You can find Diff online at diff.wikimedia.org, which I will share in the chat. Oh, I see a hand raised, and I will get to that at the end, so I apologize. I will try to make time at the end to have a few questions. I want to talk a little bit about Diff and what it means for your community. For those of you who don't know, we started Diff, the foundation started Diff a little over a year ago, back in July of 2020. Since then, we've seen over 400 blog posts from across the movement, from movement strategy updates to reports from events, lessons learned, best practices for running a photo contest. You name it, if it happens in the Wikimedia movement, we probably have a blog post or two about it. The site is visited by 12,000 people a month from nearly all corners of the world. If any of you are in the center of Africa, Schwarzwald, above Norway, or North Korea, those are the 3 countries we don't have any traffic from in the world. Diff is a community blog. It is open to anyone in the movement. Anyone is a very open, transparent editorial process. If you go to the Diff and you go to the About page, we describe everything there. Anyone with a Wikimedia account, so if you already have a Wikimedia account, which I hope you do, can log in using OAuth, using your Wikimedia account, and submit a blog post. You can submit a blog post on a variety of topics in any language. You can submit a version in Arabic. You could submit a version in Arabic and English. You could submit it in French. It doesn't matter. We don't judge. We don't have any preference. And our scope is pretty broad. It's pretty simple. It's news and stories about Wikipedia and Wikimedia activities. These updates and these stories, these blog posts can be from individuals, from affiliates, user groups, wiki projects, partnerships with other organizations, you name it. The only thing that's out of scope are things that have an unclear impact on the Wikimedia movement, opinion articles, and cryptocurrency spam. You might think I'm joking about the last one about the cryptocurrency spam, but someone has tried to log in, submit a blog post about their cryptocurrency of choice. So, we have to kind of be clear that that's kind of off the plate. If you've never used a blogging software before, or if you have, Diff uses the open source software WordPress. WordPress is one of the largest publishing software in the world. It's open source. So if you ever used WordPress before, it'll feel very similar. We have documentation on the site on how to log in and get started. Everything right now, I will fully admit, is written in English. We're working on that.
Please, sir, please, we don't listen to you. Activate the microphone, please. Because you are on mute.
Oh. How long was I on mute for?
Now it's okay. Now it's okay. Thank you.
I must have bumped a button. Oh, software. I'm sorry. Let me go back a step there to make sure I captured everything there. I'll try not to lean on my keyboard. I don't have a cat, so I can't blame a cat. So again, We have documentation on the site on how to use Diff. If for any reason that documentation isn't sufficient, I will fully admit it currently is in English only. We are working on that. Please reach out to us. Anything you need help with, from how do I write a blog post, how do I organize my thoughts, how do I communicate something clearly, do the technical side of things, how do I add a category, how do I write a translation, or something really cool like how do I embed a video from Commons. Like, we're here to help you. That's my job. We have a talk page on Meta that you can find if you search for Diff on Meta. We have a tag in Fabricator if you're familiar with our bug and feature tracking software. And we have an email address. Our email address is diff, D-I-F-F, @wikimedia.org. And again, I will share that in the chat. Hoping you can still hear me. I'm nervously looking at the mute button here to make sure I'm not muted again. So that's a little bit about Diff. I should also mention that Diff is not just news. It's kind of exciting to share, as this is still new, but just a few months ago, we added an event calendar to Diff. This is an attempt to be a central organizing space for events that happen across the movement, whether these are things like editathons, meetups, conferences like WikiArabia. You can go to the calendar, you can search for events, you can filter by category or country, or even what language is the main language the conference will be in. You can, and just like the blog side of Diff, you can log in. Anyone with a Wikimedia account can log in and add an event to the calendar. There's no editorial review there. It's an event. It's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. We trust you. So you just need to add a title, a description, and the date and time of your event. You can also add more important things like embedding a live stream or link to your registration system if you need people to register. And these events can be also added in any language and translated into any language. So this is new. We've kind of been quiet about it. There's a link at the top of the site, but this is kind of the first time I really talked to anybody outside of the foundation about this. We've listened and learned from a lot of people across the movement over the years that they really want an event calendar. And this is giving it a try and seeing if we can be successful with it. So I encourage you all to take a look at Diff and poke around, ask questions. And that's kind of why I wanted to come here today with you all, is to talk about one area that we really need to improve upon with Diff is real representation, true representation from all parts of the movement, especially in our amazing, thriving, and growing communities like the Arabic community. I know that you all are doing great work. I get to hear about it in my job, and that's an awesome and amazing thing. But I need your help in telling your stories and sharing your experiences. So I welcome you and your fellow community members to consider using Diff for your outreach and communication about the work, milestones, events, and lessons learned that you all have experienced. The Wikimedia community is truly a global community. You know this more than I. And there's so much that you can share with others and maybe even learn along the way too from one another. I work in the communications department at the foundation, and one of the sources that we use to share on social media and other places about the work that our communities are doing is Diff. So again, it's not just me, one guy coming to you talking about my little blog. There's an entire team, an entire department behind Diff, and we're really trying to work with community members in doing this. I know this is only a lightning talk, and I only have a few more minutes, but we might not have much time today. But please, let's talk about these ideas and work together and amplify your work. And for the future, I know we have a long way to go and many things to do to improve on the site. For instance, the navigation is all in English, no matter what language you select. And so that means, it's not quite where we want it to be, and we're working to improve this. For instance, we just added the calendar, and I would love to figure out a way to pull back headlines from Diff and display them on Wiki in language in different interesting ways. Maybe pull back all the articles written in Arabic, or all the articles with a certain category, or all the articles just about something like WikiArabia. So there's ways that we can improve, and that's where I could use your help. Besides using Diff to share your work, which I strongly encourage you to do, I ask that you please reach out to myself and the team to help us understand what we could do to make it easier and better for you and your community. So that's kind of all I have to say. I'm kind of breathlessly ran through that. I do apologize if I spoke too quickly. I hope the links I shared in the chat are helpful. I have 5 minutes, I think. So if there are any questions, please let me know. Thank you, Nana. And just one reminder before we run out of time together today, if you have any questions about Diff or want to know more about it, we do have an email address. You can reach out to us. It goes to myself and the rest of the team, and we'll do our best to help you and answer your questions.
Thank you very much, sir. You have only 5 minutes, so if you have questions, don't hesitate. للمشاركين إذا لديكم أسئلة اغتنموا الفرصة واطرحوها. Are waiting for questions.
Well, if there's no questions, I will leave you all today. I will say shukran. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. شكرا لك على كامل هذه المعلومات القيمة اللي ساهمت في بناء الرصيد الفكري. شكرا لك. شكرا.